All right, well, welcome everybody to our CC meeting. I just want to say, I don't know how many of you were at the bowling event, but that to me was awesome. It was truly what I remember experiencing when I very first started CC, just being able to hang out my peers and have a good time, and then follow it up with training like we're doing now. But I got to thank everybody that put that together and all the hard work and you put into it, because it was fun. I hope everybody else had fun.
I had fun. It was a blast.
One thing that I noticed that I don't do that much, maybe it's harder because these are Zoom meetings, but I truly do thank all of the vendors, and I would like to give you guys time to, if you're gold and silver members, new members or whatnot, I want to give everybody their time on the soapbox and just let us know who you are, because I feel without you, we can't do the fun things, and I want to give you your time because we do appreciate you. So if anybody wants to speak up.
I don't mind starting. I'm Sean Burke. I'm in San Diego, so I'm working with Bill here, who's providing the presentation today. I'll be covering Southern California market, and our focus is prefabricated and modular construction solutions, which of course he'll cover today. But pretty new at this, and looking forward to meeting a lot of you guys along the way.
Well, welcome.
Welcome.
We appreciate you.
Definitely.
Hi, I'm Linda Rowan with Prevent. We do fire dampers, fire doors, fire stopping, and very happy to be part of this chapter. And I have to echo the sentiment from Jimmy. That was super fun. Bowling, that was a blast. We need to do that again.
Good seeing you there too.
Yeah, you too.
I'll jump in. My name is Brian Campaign. I'm the Regional Sales Manager for Forensic Analytical Consulting, otherwise known as FACS. We're an industrial hygiene company. So anything to do with asbestos, lead, Legionella, anything that has to do with disrupting the building or people's safety, we come out and we do all the surveys. And bummed that I couldn't make it. I thought I could come down to San Diego for the bowling. I reached out to Beth and said, hey, I can do it. And she said it's already booked. So I'm going to make a note next time to confirm earlier. I'm glad to be here.
Welcome. And yeah, definitely sign up early, right? For the next time.
Absolutely.
Of what we'll be talking about soon.
Hi, everybody. I'm Van Smith. I'm with ADT Commercial Healthcare. I'm out of Orange County and I'm brand new. So I unfortunately wasn't able to make the bowling event. But I cover Southern California from Orange County, Los Angeles, and San Diego, all the way out to the Inland Empire. And I carry all the lines of ADT Commercial, which is fire and safety, as well as video capture, access control. We also do nurse call. And so really just looking to network with folks. And if you have projects that you're looking to get any access control or fire or security into, I'm your man if it's healthcare.
Perfect. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Ben.
And I just want to throw out, Jimmy, that ADT is a brand new gold sponsor. So I'm glad to see that you were able to join us tonight, Ben.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, Chris Vickers. I couldn't make the bowling because I'm in Maine, but I'm a CC member. I'm the president and CEO of Stark Systems. We make temporary modular containment walls, and we're working closely. We just got an OSHPD approval for a 1-hour fire rated containment wall. And so we've been at the CC events from time to time and just getting to know the California market and all the standards that apply slightly differently than some places else. some other places.
Thank you for joining us. I got an email from you guys today. I recognize your face.
Oh, great.
Good stuff. Thank you.
Hi, this is Jeff Norman. I'm with Alliance IAQ. I'm driving, or I would turn my camera on. I was at the bowling. That was super fun. We specialize in mainly indoor air quality, so air handler units, cleaning them, rehabbing them, restoration, duct cleaning, life safety as well, you know, dampers, fire stopping, all that good stuff. And I think we've been CSHI members for a long time too. I'm not sure the exact length of time, but we're there. We've been there for a while.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for joining us.
I'm Elise Holmes with Patcraft Commercial Flooring, and have been a member down here since August. And I am on the events planning committee, and bowling was super fun. Look forward to more stuff.
We appreciate you, and exactly the events planning group. That's something we really need, and I'm glad that Corky's gathering you all together, because we have a lot of more events coming up that I think are going to be exciting. Anybody else want to chime in? Besides the dog?
James,
Well-
this is Brian with Facts again. I just want to say thank you for allowing us to do that. I know sometimes we get into these meetings and we don't have a time to do the introduction, so I appreciate you doing that.
You know, and I don't know if you heard everything, but I'm just trying to give you guys your time, because you guys make CSHI fun, you know. I don't want to get all into it, but you guys all need your time on the stage, per se, in my eyes. So I want to just give you that time. I probably haven't done that enough in past, but it's kind of hard with the Zoom meetings, but maybe it's not, you know, this is working well. So I appreciate everybody. And if anybody else wants to speak up, now's the time, or we're going to roll into Bill Summers.
Well, Jim, we got to talk about membership, brother.
Yeah, you and Gary take over. I'll sit back and let you guys take over. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. My name's Corky Sigurdsson. I'm with AE Building, and I'm the chapter secretary. So bowling was friggin' awesome. A big thanks to Elise and to Stacy and everybody else on the events committee that contributed. Linda, thank you for being there. Jeff, thank you for being there. We do events like this to attract engineers, so we build membership. We are an educational society. That's what we do. That's what we're about. But we've been on Zoom now for 2 years. So we're just now starting to do more events so that we can see face to face and we can have community. So when we do these events, what we're trying to do is get young engineers and from different healthcare organizations that don't currently belong. So we're doing events around the county at different times on different stuff. We put a lot of energy into taking a look at a wine tasting at Bernardo Winery, only to find out we can't afford it. So we're not doing that one, but we are looking at doing a Padre game. And we're also looking at K1 Raceway. We did K1 about, I don't know, 8-9 years ago, and that's up in North County. Obviously, Petco is in the middle of downtown. So what we'd like and what we invite everybody to do is engage with us. Let us know what attracts you, and more importantly, what attracts the hospitals that we all serve. So, oh, sorry about my dogs. They are just going nuts. Wednesday, April 20th is a day game. It's a 1 o'clock start, and it's the friggin' Dodgers. Okay, so I don't know if guys want to take off from work to come scream at the Dodgers, but sounds like a really good idea to me. The other one would be Thursday, the 21st. It would be at K1 Raceway. Again, what we ask everybody to do is invite. We need membership. Once upon a time, San Diego was the largest chapter in California. We are no longer that largest chapter. I think that's LA now. That really goads me along with the whole Dodger thing. So that's what we want. If you, all
Hey,
you've
Corky.
got to do, all you got, yes.
Are we allowed to come to the
What?
Dodger Padre game if we're Dodger fans?
Yeah, you can. Just watch your back. I grew up
Bring an engineer.
I grew up a junior Dodger, so I'm cool with it. But if you want to belong to the events committee, you don't have to do anything except send me an email. Real easy. You get to be part of the planning. When you're part of the planning, you're going to be next to Jimmy. You're going to be next to Gary. You're going to be working with actual hospital engineers, which is as vendors while we're here. All the philanthropic stuff is great. And God bless Jimmy for allowing everybody a few minutes to introduce themselves. It's true. If vendors don't get, everybody's got to go back and give a marketing report or talk about something to their employers about what did you get out of CSHI. And if the answer is nothing, then we're not doing our job. So again, we welcome your participation. We welcome your ideas. We are the rest of the year. We also are looking at we were talking about the new stadium. We're going to be doing an Aztecs game, hopefully in October. And then this year for our holiday party, we want to do the dinner cruise on San Diego Bay. We want to do big stuff. We want to do stuff that engages and gets people excited and makes them want to come down and be part of it and then stick around for the education. We're really pushing MEC 1 and MEC 2 certifications. We're going to be looking for somebody to take that on and lead that for us and reach out to all the different hospitals because we don't think everybody knows just what it is that CSHI is and what we do. It's great to go to happy hour. It's great to go to a fun event like bowling, but we're an educational society and we're here so that every hospital, nobody, in any role at any hospital has to suffer alone. Man, they can call, if they're in community with us, they can call, hey, do you know what, have you ever had this problem? Right? That's what I got. Gary?
I'll just reiterate what you just mentioned, or trying to get members sign up. That's our goal. That's what we want to do. We want to really push that. Actually, I have 3 or 4 engineers that are wanting to sign up for my team. So yeah, that's our goal and that's what we're moving forward to.
And
How many
the
people do we have signed up right now?
I'm sorry, excuse me?
How many people do we currently have that are members right now?
Beth, could you answer that for us?
I think we're at about 100.
So for San
I think
Diego,
we're about
it's
100.
133.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're moving up.
And since you just brought that up, can we have at least bring up pictures from bowling?
We can try. At least
We
didn't
can
realize it was
try.
gonna be so hard.
Yeah, we talked about bowling. We talked about the football and stuff. Golf is coming up. So
Yes,
if anybody
coming
wants
up.
to be part of the golf game, the events committee will be a big part of that. So I encourage people, if you have ideas, get with Corky. Of course, John's a big part of that.
It's,
Do you guys
that's
see
gonna-
all 12 pictures?
They're great.
yes.
Okay, sorry, I can't figure out how to do it otherwise, but
No, that was just,
So
that's
we
just
had a happy
fun.
hour. This is all at San Diego State. We had a happy hour at a restaurant, Eureka. And then we went over to Aztec Lanes and they couldn't have treated us any better. It was just, we basically rented the place out and not for much money. So again, really happy to hear everybody had a good time. Beth, you're going to have these pictures on the website, right?
Correct. I will post them sometime, probably mid next week.
Thank you. Okay,
So Jimmy mentioned our golfing event. It's on August 18th, so pencil that in. It's at Rancho Bernardo Inn. Nice event. Are we ready to start our
Yeah, go ahead. Introduce them.
Thanks, Corky, and everyone for joining our C-Sheet chapter meeting. Tonight's topic is benefits of prefabrication and modularity during HC construction, presented by Bill Summers with Anchor Medical Company. Bill, if you're ready with your presentation, we'll turn it over to you.
All right. Thanks, Gary. Appreciate it. Thanks, Jimmy. Thanks, Corky. And thank you, everybody, for being here and for the introduction. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Bill Summers. I'm the owner and founder of Anchor Medical Company. We're a manufacturer's rep company that focuses on prefabricated and modular construction products in healthcare, basically major infrastructure type products that go into the healthcare setting. I also have Sean Burke on as well. He's our local San Diego rep that's based out of San Diego, supporting all of the Southern California market. So I'm based out of Northern California. Sean's in Southern California, and then we have some office folks that help support us. And we're essentially representing several different manufacturers that all do prefabricated and modular construction products. So that's essentially what we do. And today I'm just going to kind of give you guys a brief overview of kind of why people are moving towards a modular and prefabricated type of systems. And healthcare, as you all know, is there's sometimes are a little bit slow to adopt these major ideas and principles when it comes to construction, medical device, things like that. There's a lot of bureaucracy and red tape to get through. And what I've noticed is certainly in California and on the West Coast, it's even a little bit slower. And I think that has something to do with OSHPD and well, now HCI. A number of our manufacturers have been slow to enter the California market because of HCI, but it's certainly here and it's here to stay. We talk to hospital owners, contractors, architects on a day in, day out basis. And that's something that we hear quite frequently, is that prefab is kind of the way to go for building any type of building. Now, you were mentioning the Aztec Stadium. I'm sure that there was prefab components in that particular building. So it's definitely prefab and modular construction is here to stay. I'll go over a quick history of modular building and show you some examples that this is something that's not entirely new. It's been done for a long time, and then show you some examples of the types of prefab systems that we're seeing in healthcare today, who the biggest beneficiaries are of this type of construction, and talk a little bit about the difference between the offsite construction and then factory built prefab. And there is a difference there. They're marketed to owners a little bit differently, but I'll touch on that. And then really just kind of get into some of these manufacturers and show you how they offer benefits to the healthcare engineer. Now, some of you may have seen this video on LinkedIn. I know it was posted quite a bit last year, or I guess 2 years now, right? So this is back in 2020. So this is that hospital that they built in Wuhan, China in 10 days. And it's pretty fascinating that they could build such a massive building so quickly, but they used modular construction concepts to be able to build this hospital so quickly. So that's kind of what we're doing, is we're bringing some of these products and infrastructure equipment to market here in California. Now, I'm not sure if this facility would pass an HCI inspection, but who knows? Maybe someday they'll be building hospitals in 10 days here in California, but not anytime soon. But anyways, so what is modular building? So Modular Building Institute, there's, as you know, there's an industry for every type of concept that they have in construction. The Modular Building Institute defines modular building as a process in which a building is constructed to offsite under controlled plant conditions using the same materials and designing to the same codes and standards as conventionally built facilities. So really, basically, we're kind of building buildings within a building. And some of these products that you see here are becoming much more widely adopted and becoming much more popular in healthcare today. A quick background on modular building. So I did some research prior to this presentation, and it's actually quite fascinating how long it's been going on. So back in the 16th century, there was an American fisherman who wanted to have a European craftsman style home built. So he had it built in Europe and shipped across the Atlantic and put back together here in the US. The first modular hospital was built in 1855 for the British Army in the Crimean War. The gold rush, they built like 500 homes in New York, shipped them across the country and put them in California. Of course, Ford with the Industrial Revolution and the assembly line introduction really kind of expanded that modular building for modular homes and things like this. Another pretty cool one I thought was in 2003, McDonald's built a restaurant in 13 hours. I think that puts a whole nother spin on fast food right there. And then in UPenn, which is one of the largest healthcare construction projects in the country, just completed late last year. And to date, it was the largest construction product utilizing primarily prefabrication and modular construction for that particular project. And that was actually, if you look at where that's located in Philadelphia, it is just a very compact, narrow site. They had to pre-build a lot of things off-site, both factory-built prefab as well as off-site prefabrication. And I'll take a dive into what the differences are there. So some examples for prefab in healthcare. There's modular wall systems, which are becoming really popular, primarily used in operating rooms, imaging suites, pharmacies and sterile processing departments. MEP racks, a good example for something that could be built off-site, locally near the facility by a contractor. Bathroom pods is another big one. I've seen several different bathroom pod manufacturers on the HCI website that have submitted for OPM. So this is building out fully fit and finish a bathroom. I mean, you figure bathrooms are such a repeatable thing that you could have all those pre-built by a expert off-site. Turnkey modular and mobile pharmacies, and also just clean room environments for CGMP manufacturing. Something that we will all be hearing a lot more of as time goes on is this bench to bedside cell and gene therapy that is moving from the biotech, biopharma space into healthcare for those incurable diseases, which are now becoming much more curable, like things like CRISPR, cell and gene therapy, vein to vein therapies. That's becoming much more accepted. There's a handful of FDA approved drugs right now for cell and gene autologous gene therapies. And there's like 1,600 that are in with the FDA for approval right now. So as that market starts to expand, it's going to expand the need for these types of clean room technologies at the healthcare facility. OR ceiling systems is another big one. And also your rough-in frames and which are essentially become a head wall system. Now, what are the benefits of prefabrication? Well, one, when you're factory building something, it's a repeatable process, right? So you're moving it from station to station, just like what Ford introduced back in 1913. Because you have that consistency, you're going to have a quality product that's going to be delivered time and time again. It's also safer for the job site because you're going to have less trades on the job site. People are going to be freed up to do other things. It also helps you use what's called like a parallel trades coordination process versus a linear trades coordination where you have to rely on one tradesman to do one step and then another tradesperson to come in and do the next, and so on and so forth. It frees that up in these critical clinical environments. And also you're leaving these infrastructure pieces of equipment to the experts. These are what people do all day, every day. They build these, you get UL listings with them, and it frees up time. And, you know, you've got experts like our Jimmy Garoppolo lookalike here on that 4th picture there. And of course, probably the biggest benefit of prefab is speed of construction, right? So speed of market is so important now because these healthcare projects are so massive and they take so long. And oftentimes it's using borrowed money that the hospital is paying interest on. So the faster we build it, the faster we open, the faster we serve the community, the faster that hospital also generates revenue, and the faster they stop paying interest on these massive loans to build these facilities. And so there's just a lot of data out there that more and more projects are utilizing prefab, from head walls to major infrastructure to building full modular buildings that are turnkey. The architect, the engineer, the designer, and contractor are all main beneficiaries of prefabrication in the healthcare space. Also, there are major labor shortages. There is the Associated General Contractors of America group reported that 81% of construction firms have trouble filling both salaried as well as hourly craft positions. And this is a major concern, is that there's no infill for labor, for tradesmen and tradeswomen to be able to perform this work at the hospital. And I think that we're probably experiencing that at the facility level too, with qualified engineers and facilities people to be able to be there to perform the work that's needed at the hospital. This is an article that was just last year in 2021. Construction's facing a labor gap of 430,000 workers that year. And, you know, certainly in California, the cost of labor is really high. The cost of construction is high. If you can have these major infrastructure equipment and parts of the hospital built off-site in an area of the country where the cost of labor is a little bit lower, it ends up penciling out and providing a better, more quality outcome for that clinical space. Now let's talk about the difference between factory-built prefab and off-site prefab. So the factory-built prefab is, we're using a manufacturer that has all of the certifications. Sometimes they're ISO certified. They have UL listings on their products, things like that. Now, a lot of contractors will pitch to an owner that we're going to use prefab. Well, what they do then is they're simply going to rent a warehouse space, you know, maybe outside of downtown San Francisco, but they may rent a warehouse space in South San Francisco where they're going to essentially stick build the major components of that hospital in a warehouse. Now, that's okay as well to do it that way, but we think that doing it with a factory built prefab provides a lot of benefits. The major drawback to doing a factory built prefab is sometimes that factory is not local, right? So it's offsite. So these things are being manufactured in a place that could be, you know, across the country. But the benefits is you're going to free up that local labor to do other types of work. There's plenty of work to be done, especially with labor shortage, for those carpenters, electricians, mechanical engineers, things like that, to be able to do other work. Local labor costs can be high. We know that's the case in California. Factory built is prefab is going to provide identical, consistent, more predictable outcomes with the equipment that's being installed. And they also have invested in major equipment like lasers, CNC machines, benders, other major types of equipment. All that infrastructure is already in place to be able to pre-build that infrastructure equipment for the hospital offsite. And typically it can be less expensive or cost neutral for the owner. Now, when we look at the flip side of that, the offsite prefab or local prefab, that's really the main benefit is you've got a local builder that's on site. You can drive over there and see what's going on. But the challenges are, you know, the local labor is a limited resource. Local labor is high. The costs are high. So if you're paying a California electrician to pre-wire a head wall system, when they could be doing other major things like putting in circuits, electrical circuits in the hospital. That doesn't really pencil out in the long run. You also have many trades coordination in this small facility or whatever is being rented to be able to prefab those components. And warehouse costs are high, and there's also higher risk for the contractor. Now, one thing we know for sure, healthcare projects are on the rise. We are chasing a lot of projects in the state of California. It seems like Southern California is just so busy with healthcare construction projects, not just the high acuity space, the OSHPD 1 or HCI 1 projects, but also a lot of MOBs and outpatient facilities as well. It is booming right now. They did a survey through Medical Construction Design magazine, and 2/3 of the people who responded said that the healthcare building activity is increasing. The size of the healthcare project is also increasing. The value of that project is also increasing. And they also, over 70% said that skilled labor or the shortage of skilled labor provides a risk to their project. Now, what they're doing to prepare for future growth, flexible spaces is a major component that they want to incorporate. Building out shelled space, so essentially empty parts of the building that can be grown into for either perioperative services, med surg, ICU, whatever it is that they need, they can grow into those flexible spaces. Now, when I talk about speed of construction, this quick video here sums it up pretty nicely. So what I mean by this is these guys, this is a factory built prefab, what they call a rough-in frame. Now, this is something that comes on a truck, right? And you've got multiple, it's designed once, but it can be built hundreds of times, right? So it's a repeatable thing that can be installed. And they can install these in about 6 minutes per rough-in frame. It's really, really quick. They're simply gonna move it into place, hoist it up. They're going to then fasten it to that rough opening. That's what the contractor will do, is they'll build a rough opening. They're going to lift this up into place, fasten it, and then afterwards, the contractor is simply going to make brazed connections above the ceiling. So it's going to minimize the amount of brazed connections required. All of the MEP and gases are going to be pre-manifolded. All of the wiring is pre-wired. All of your data is pre-wired, electrical, nurse call, everything. So everything can just be terminated above the ceiling, and it just speeds that up. Stick-built construction, you're gonna have to frame all that out. You're gonna have to run each one of these gases down independently. So you can see how quickly that installs and how much that would make that job process go much, much quicker. Here's an example where it was 6 minutes per head wall. 44 head walls. So basically they're going to level out that base. They're going to place that frame directly in there. And then afterwards, you're going to just braze med gas connections. Now I know on like new builds, a lot of times that's all being done or driven by the architect, but even on your smaller projects that you might have within the healthcare facility, it's worth looking at prefab just to give you those consistent quality outcomes. Afterwards, they're going to come in and put gyp directly over the top of that rough-in frame. And then there's the finished product right there. Now let's talk about ceilings. This is another major product that is being used in healthcare right now. So for those of you who have been above a OR ceiling, you know it gets very congested up there. When you stick build an OR ceiling, you've got a lot of steel, you have a lot of duct work, you've got boom mounts, you've got all of the diffusers, you've got lighting and everything that connects to that. Now, a prefabricated ceiling system versus an MDA system or a multi-diffuser array system comes in one compact solution. So this is a prefab ceiling system that is pre-built. It comes in, depending on the size of the room, anywhere between 2 to like 5 pieces. It gets assembled on the floor and then hoisted up to the ceiling itself. But what's nice about this is it can just be hung by all thread rod. It could be attached directly to the deck above. It is inclusive of your ambient lighting. It's inclusive of your boom mounts. It can be inclusive of your sprinkler systems. It can be inclusive of your the imaging mounts for your ceiling hung imaging equipment, for your imaging CAP, IR, EP, hybrid rooms, things like that. And you also have one vendor that you're working with. So this is a perfect example of the linear trades coordination process versus a parallel trades coordination process. So a linear trades coordination, you're going to have somebody come in to install this steel. Then you're going to have your mechanical guy come in to install all your duct work. Then you're going to have your boom guy come in and install that. So if one step gets missed, or if there's a delay, or somebody gets sick, right there, it starts that delay, that process, which is going to push that 2-week project into a 3 or 4 week project. With this particular system, with a prefab ceiling system, it can be installed in about a day. And it also takes up a big portion of that scope. And you end up with a better performing system that's going to be safer for the staff and the patient. And this is just a time-lapse video of an airframe system going up into place. You see they're just using all thread rod to hang that. And in 3 hours, they got this 3x3 multi-diffuser array system fully installed with the boom mounts and everything. And it turns into this OR here. So just an example of the benefits there. Now, from your guys' perspective, or from the healthcare engineer's perspective, what's nice about this is, one, from a maintenance standpoint, it's going to be much less problematic long-term. So you're looking at all the ductwork and components that have to be installed. With a multi-diffuser array system, you have a lot of ductwork, which means ultimately a lot of points of failure. You've got 1 point of connection, maybe 2 points, depending on the size of the diffuser or the ceilings, the prefab ceiling system. Here, you've got greater potentials for leaks and greater potentials for some type of failure. Same goes with electrical. Here, you've got multiple electrical connections with your ambient lighting all the way around the room. With one of these ceiling systems, you've got just 2 electrical connections and you're lighting up the room. Some other benefits are, because that they only do healthcare and that's specifically designed for healthcare, they're making it friendly for the healthcare engineer. You've got your LED drivers that are located on the outside of that frame, easily accessible. You've got piano hinge diffuser doors that allow your diffuser to swing down so you can easily and quickly replace a Hepa filter. You've also got these Allen key ports in the middle of the screen to where you could perform your air balancing without even getting into the guts of the system. So that's really kind of how it's designed. It's pre-designed and engineered for the healthcare engineer. You can see how quickly, I'm just kind of fast forwarding this, but how quickly and easy it is to put in the Hepa filters and then to shut those diffuser grills. Now, the new ASHRAE 170 guideline addendum L calls for having Hepa filtration at the termination point in the ceiling for specific type of surgical specialties. Notably, you've got ortho, I know burn units, spine, things like that. So it is important to take a look at how you're designing that room and having Hepas in the ceiling itself. Fortress, the stainless steel modular wall systems is something else that's becoming very popular. The big picture here is what we've seen in healthcare. The status quo is essentially, using traditional construction, which is drywall and some type of wall protection attached to that drywall as wall protection. Your typical OR is going to cost a hospital owner anywhere between $2 to $2.5 million to build and equip. If you're looking at imaging equipment, you've got $5 million plus to build and equip that room. It's going to generate tens of millions of dollars annually for that hospital. A typical OR generates about $100,000 of revenue per day. But what we see is across the country, the status quo is they're building the walls or constructing the walls the same way as they are the EVS closets where they store the buckets and the mops, or a hallway corridor or a conference room, right? It's some iteration of drywall and wall protection, epoxy paint, and some sort of bumpers that go on the wall. What this system does is when you compare it to other types of wall finishes, it is not only going to provide you a more durable type of surface, remove horizontal edges in the rooms, give you any aesthetics you want, but it's going to offer a complete flexibility for the life of that room. So these are essentially modular walls for those high acuity spaces that are removable in a matter of minutes for ORs, imaging suites, SPD, and pharmacies. So here's one example. And I ask this question a lot to healthcare engineers is, do you ever wish you had removable walls in your hospital? They say every day, right? I mean, so just to be able to pull a wall off and be able to get access would be very nice. So this is one hospital. We use that iceberg analogy quite a bit, but a lot of times what's seen up front, because it's a premium system, is the investment cost. But this is one hospital system, a for-profit facility in Denver. And basically they, within the first 18 months of occupancy, were able to do all of these different things. You had unforeseen circumstances like an air handler leak. They had to pull wire for an OR integration. They had to increase duct size for airflow, remove panels to fix a vacuum leak. They also had to swap a robot in an OR for surgeons. They're able to do that and maintain almost 35 days of OR uptime. And so keep that room operational and generating revenue for the hospital. Here's an example from, this is actually an unsolicited LinkedIn post from the director of facilities for that facility, talking about how a flexible wall system saved them 2 weeks of two ORs being down. They were able to get that work done in 3 hours and 15 minutes on a Saturday morning. So that's what oftentimes happens, is the work that you want to perform in these rooms can be done much, much faster. Here's another example where a director of surgery came into the OR. There was water on the floor in the operating room, and they were still able to do surgery that day because they had a modular wall system. They were able to remove that panel. The panel was not impacted by the leak event. They were able to find the leak, fix the leak, replace the panel. They maybe weren't starting on time that day, but they weren't canceling cases. A normal leak event in a hospital, and I'm sure that any facilities engineer can attest to it, it's how disruptive that can be. What typically happens is you've got to cut out about 2 feet of that room all the way down the length of the room, because drywall, when it gets wet, it's going to wick all the way down. So all that has to be cut out and removed. With a modular wall system similar to this, each one of these panels are independent of one another. The drywall can't get wet and wick to the next subsequent panel. Also, the water will come out into the room before it actually impacts that panel, which is why you're able to keep that wall dry. This particular example, they were able to save 3 days of downtime with that high revenue generating space. This one's pretty cool of what a modular wall system was able to do for this client. They actually were taking what they learned in each phase and implementing it into the subsequent phase. So now the owner's going back to the first phases of the job, and they're making all these modifications. On a Saturday, they came in, removed 3 desks, 12 panels, accessed 3 integration cabinets, added 18 electrical outlets and 3 data ports in 6 hours. And it simply can't be done with any other type of wall system because they don't have flexibility like this. They came back a few weeks later and got a little bit faster. Now, this is something we see in any hospital USA right here, right? You've got cracked paint, horizontal ledges, cracked corner guards. You've got exposed drywall dust, things like that. A prefab wall system will provide you durability that you just can't get with any other type of wall finish. So this is impenetrable. It takes about 90,000 pounds of pressure to get through a stainless steel. This is a large hybrid room at Mass General where that gurney wants to bang into that wall every single time it comes into the room. We did a site visit there. The nurse said, well, it's clean, it's just scuffed. So we took their Virex solution, a Scotch-Brite pad, brushed with the grain and buffed that room out in a matter of minutes. This is something that's pretty cool. This is, and I've heard of UV quite a bit on other C-sheet type chapter meetings. UV is very popular right now in healthcare for obvious reasons. It seems like it kind of goes through phases, right? When C. diff was a major problem, which it still is, but it was very popular then. But with COVID, it became much more popular once again. But UV, this is a pretty cool way of just doing UV. Again, it's not a silver bullet to the infection prevention strategies of the hospital, but it is certainly supplemental and it does help. So what's nice about this, in my opinion, is it's actually can be hooked up and automated. So you can hook it up to your building management system, turn it on, do all your rooms at one time in the middle of the night. You can do one at a time in between cases. You really use the system as you see fit. And it doesn't require a full-time employee to be tethered to that machine, moving it from spot to spot, which is what we see a lot of with the various types of UV robots that are in the healthcare setting. Again, sterile processing is another big application, as well as pharmacies. Now, talking about pharmacies and prefab, so there's another company that manufactures prefab pharmacies. So this is a guaranteed USP 797 and 800 compliant pharmacy that can be delivered either via a 53-foot trailer that is OSHPD approved or via a modular building. So they do both options that are fully turnkey, fully equipped, that are available for purchase or lease for the owner. But this is great for you know, the USP if you have a pharmacy that's down for a project, or if you just have, if you're out of capacity or out of space and you need more capacity, this is a great way to go. And then, as I mentioned, that the bench to bedside care that is becoming more and more popular for those what were once incurable diseases. We're going to start seeing a lot more of this in healthcare today. With these cell and gene therapies as they become more approved by the FDA, where there's going to be need for having this directly on site at the hospital, because some of these therapies are, they call it, it's vein to vein. So they have to remove the cells from the patient and then deliver the cells back in the patient within sometimes like 4 hours. So the cells actually have to be treated. The therapies have to be delivered and then injected back into the patient in a matter of 4 hours. And it's really hard to do that when you, you know, if the closest contract manufacturer is up in Los Angeles, it's going to be difficult to do in San Diego, right? And then another thing that we do is we have a mobile showroom. And this is something we talked about on a previous chapter meeting. This is a previous iteration of the mobile showroom. Some of you on this call maybe have seen this before, but I'd love to get this out to a CSHI chapter meeting, because it's just a really cool way to see all of the solutions in one location. We're actually building out another one that's currently in Waco, Texas, that's going to be inclusive of all of the solutions. We're going to have some virtual reality headsets in there too. And so maybe this would be a good place to pull it up to a San Diego State Aztec Stadium tailgate party or something. And I am going to have electrical on the outside so I can hook up my Traeger grill outside the trailer. So maybe sometime in the near future, we'll be able to bring this mobile showroom to a CSHI chapter near you. But yeah, I think that covers really a lot of what, you know, the benefits of what prefab and modular construction delivers to healthcare. And I hope it answered any unanswered questions that you guys have, and kind of why Sean and I are totally dedicated and focused on this market for healthcare. And I will share this presentation with you, Beth, if it's something that you wanted to load onto the website. And I've got some of the resources on here as well for any healthcare engineers that want to learn more. So that kind of wraps up my portion of the presentation. I'd like to open it up for questions if there are any.
Oh, I got questions. Come on. So a lot of the times with construction, as you know, there's the inspections. So when is everything being inspected in-house, you know, in the warehouse where you're building it, or is it once it's installed on site?
It's a little bit of both. So I guess the short answer is it depends, right? So a lot of times with, for instance, like the prefab head wall systems, what we've done there, Jimmy, is we'll actually ship out a first on site, because it's a little bit easier to build a head wall and ship it out and have something on site for OSHPD or some of the local regulatory bodies to approve. But for instance, like with SLD and the big integrated ceiling systems, we actually work with local inspectors. That particular manufacturer is out of Portland, Oregon, and they'll work with local inspectors who already have relationships with HCI to perform those inspections during the manufacturing process. For the
Also, like, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
go ahead.
Like the med gas, I know that that's a very lengthy, testing and inspection. So that's, we're out.
Everything is certified, pre-certified, and we've got all the documentation that comes out with the prefab head wall systems. And then for instance, like with the wall systems, that's already HCI approved, so it's got an OPM. So it really just depends on the manufacturer and what solution it is, depending on what's required from an inspection standpoint.
Okay. Hey, I'm sorry. Where am I?
We can hear
Gary's
you.
computer. Can you hear me? Gary's computer froze, so he's calling me on the phone.
Oh, okay.
Wants to apologize, but does anybody else have any questions?
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to present today, Jimmy and Beth. Yeah, I hope you guys found it to be informative. It's something that Sean and I certainly like to geek out on, and just kind of the innovation and how fast it's happening right now in the healthcare construction market is really cool. What they're doing to not just build it faster and cheaper, but to build it better with just better performing clinical spaces that ultimately, with the goal of, removing some of these manufacturers, their goal is to remove healthcare harm and surgical site infections. And so really that's kind of being able to prefab and build better clinical spaces, ultimately leading to better patient outcomes is what it's all about.
Yeah, I guess that would have been another thing. I know sometimes, like when plumbing comes in, it gets sanitized. So I guess technically you could bring some stuff in that is clean. Anyhow, I am geeking out. I just think it's an awesome product. It's a great presentation. I appreciate it.
Sure, my pleasure.
And definitely the barbecue hanging off the side of that. Maybe a little, beverage station. I think it's awesome.
Oh yeah, I know. I should have thought about that. Having like a kegerator out the front of it. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we could roll that into, like you said, the football game. Good idea.
Absolutely. Yeah. This new one, Jimmy's going to have the back of the trailer will actually drop down. So you can, we can leave it open. We could have the TV on, playing games and barbecuing outside. So it's going to be multi-use for, a little bit of work, but mostly a lot of fun.
Awesome. Great product. So I want to thank you. Does anybody else have any questions at all? I'll make sure I give plenty of time. Or just jump right in. But again, I appreciate it. I know we're going to be doing more than likely the game in April. Dodgers game sounds like coming up events. I know in May we're going to be doing an ASHI energy guide with David, and
that's going to be an in-person meeting too.
Oh, nice one. Thank you.
Hey, are there any engineers or people going to PDC later this month? The ASHI PDC Summit?
I know I'm not going to be able to attend.
Okay.
I do want to try to, I'm at a loss for words right now, but we definitely need, we're always trying, and this is where Corky comes in, always trying to build our group. So if you can bring an engineer to a game, I think that would be kind of a challenge for everybody to see who can bring somebody new in. Corky, are you still there?
I'm here. I'm here. Yeah, absolutely, guys. Again, it's our chapter. We get out of it what we put into it. And we can make it as big and as wonderful as we want to. We're always looking for people to join the committee, and we're always looking for sponsorship for various events. Like I said, we try to keep the pricing down for the engineers themselves. As we did that, bowling was $20 a head. They got to go to a happy hour. They got to bowl as long as they wanted to. They got shoes, and they could bring as many family members as they wanted. We need your help. I forgot to thank Beth. Beth, thanks for all your incredible help. Beth just works hard. That's why we drew a line on registration, because we were going for 50. And when we're trying to sign people up on the day of the event, that's actually Beth who's signing up all those people. So you're going to see harder and harder deadlines. We want you to participate, but we also want to make sure we're not having a heart attack. I want to again acknowledge Andres Guzman, my colleague, friend, and assistant. He's a big help with the committee, as well as Elise Holmes and Stacy Dresser and everybody else who's participated. It is wonderful. We do so much more. We're so much more imaginative when everybody participates. Thanks.
Thanks, Corky.
Thanks, Corky.
And, I definitely want to thank everybody for spending time with us this evening. It was a great presentation. I want to thank Beth for always being there for us, and hoorah! We'll see everybody at the next event. Excuse me. Have a good night.
Bye,
Thank you,
everybody.
too.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Take care. Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, thank you, great presentation.